Everyone's angry online these days, and it feels manufactured. Spoiler alert, sometimes it is, literally.
If you've ever shared something that turned out to be bogus, you're not alone. I mean, we're talking about AI bots, fake boycotts, and why our generation is a prime target for this.
This is Tab. She can out-Google the FBI and caught more bots than Elon's moderation team.
And this is Jim, and he's here for all the fishing and cat tank reels, but he still knows when something online smells like bullshit.
And together, we're Unretired AF.
Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Unretired AF podcast, where we're going to be talking about AI bots and other kinds of social media insanity. But before we do that, we want to do a shout out to our subscribers. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your support.
Thank you.
And if this is your first time on our channel, thank you and welcome. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. And we would encourage you to hit that subscribe button. It really means a lot to us. All right. So today we're going to be pulling the plug on fake outrage. Let's start with what's happening behind the scenes. All right, we're going to be talking about bots. And in case you don't know what a bot is, which I think a lot of people from our generation don't,
Right.
What it is it is a fake social media account. So that can be on Facebook, on Instagram, on X, probably on any of them. Those are just the three that I'm most familiar with. And they're programmed to comment, to like, to repost. Basically, their intention is to artificially make a topic trend. And so that's one term, a bot. And then the second term I want to explain to you is called astroturfing. And this is even crazier because what you have, let's say you have this fake bot over here and you have this fake bot over here. Well, let's say you post something really nice on X about a topic that you really love. Let's say, oh, I love my dog. My dog is so cute. Here's a picture of my dog. Well, this bot over here goes, dogs suck. Cats are great. And then this bot goes, I agree with you. Dogs do suck. Cats are so much better. And so you have these two AI agents.
Getting their bot on.
Yes. And they're talking to each other and they're creating all kinds of crap. And the thing is that they try to make it, the astroturfing, they try to make it look like it's grassroots and organic, and it's not. Obviously, I'm using the cat and dog, sample,
right.
But it's usually on things that are controversial topics.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
what happens is these bots flood hashtags. They make them seem much, much bigger than they are. What's scary is the bots can respond to your comments.
right.
The goal, what is the goal to get all this? It's to get you to act. Like to cancel a brand.
Right.
Like maybe think about Bud Light. Maybe think about just all the stuff that through a lot of these manufacturers just, I'm not going to go into the politics side of it, but a lot of this stuff got fueled by not organic means.
Right. Well, especially if you hear something that doesn't even make sense, like why would anybody get behind that? Then you can suspect that it's something that is attributed to bots.
Yeah.
And, and we're not just watching this happen.
No.
I mean, seniors are being aimed at by these bots and, for good reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the over 60 crowd, as we know, we've talked about it many times. We have a huge spending power and a lot of influence in the marketplace. I mean, the boomers and the Gen Xers, we hold 70% of the wealth in the country. So there's a lot of emotional targeting of our generation to get us to do something. So part of the reason is that we're the least tech savvy generation on the planet right now, except for maybe the generation above us, the silent generation. There's still a few of those. And I think there's probably still maybe the greatest generation, a few people left. But for the most part, we're the oldest generation right now, the boomers and the Gen Xers. And, we're easier to manipulate with this technology because we're not as familiar with it. We're not as tech savvy. And, we are, for the most part, emotionally invested. Whichever side, you want to be. We generally have, strong faith. We have strong emotional feelings about our country, about our family, about politics. And that makes us perfect bait for these outrage triggers. And when we say outrage, we're saying that these bots try to keep people in this constant state of stress and conflict.
Yeah.
So that's what we mean. They're creating fake outrage over things that nobody really gives a shit about.
Right. So think about the timing of boycotts.
Right.
When were they? They were right before the election. They were right before a holiday. They're right before a major event. We can, as our generation, we can move markets and votes.
Yeah.
We know we can.
Right.
We've done it.
Right.
We are very high value targets. And be honest, all of us, we were taught to believe in what we read. Believe in whoever thought Walter Cronkite would ever lie?
I was thinking about Walter Cronkite. Yes. Isn't that funny?
That is funny. Our generation, we just didn't have the social media influences.
Right.
We didn't have what there is right now to even follow up.
Right.
They were all probably as crooked back then as they are now, but we had no way to verify.
I don't know, but we had a lot less of choices. Now it's like a huge buffet.
Yeah.
It's like going to the Golden Corral. Right. Now when you're looking at media choices, before it was like going to,
three.
It's like going to In-N-Out Burger where you want a hamburger, you want a cheeseburger, do you want a double-double? Right. Those are your choices. ABC, NBC, CBS. And if you were lucky, you had some sort of PBS or some, channel like that. But, we were so excited when we got Fox opened a channel up and, we had so many less choices. And, and for that reason, and it was a different world. There was more accountability for the media. They couldn't just, they did. But if there was anybody that could call them out on it, they would. There was a lot more demand for honesty back then. Like, I think that when Walter Cronkite told us something, we felt like we could take it to the bank.
Sure.
We didn't feel like there was an angle, I guess is one way to say. And I think a lot of people from our generation, we need to be a lot more discerning. We need to understand the nefarious nature of all of this.
Absolutely.
Okay. So how do we fight back? And how do we spot when this is happening to us? Let's talk about the signs. Well, the first thing I do, and I have really, since I started researching this, I have really pulled back on my interactions on X because it seems like I would get so motivated to respond to people, and it was all emotion. It was with strangers and it was all emotion. I've really pulled back on that. And if I do feel like I want to interact with a stranger, I will be really careful. Like, I will look at their profile and I will see if all they post is outrage. If everything that they post in a group, it's going to be a lot of times in groups, unless you're on X, then it's going to be, maybe things that people you're following have shared, or the people that you follow share. If you can go and you can look at their profile. Is all they're posting angry, outrage, stuff, and they call it what's the word? Rage sharing. Rage sharing. Don't don't understand what's happening, with these people. So look at their profiles, see if they're only posting outrage, trying to tempt you and bait you into responding, and look at the way they write their posts. Is it weird? Is it repetitive? Is it look like it's copy and pasted from other things they've done or from other people?
Right.
A lot of times, some of these bot farms are controlled in foreign countries, so their English isn't the first language, and so sometimes the language that they're writing in is really weird.
Yeah.
You can also check if it's a new account, if it's something who on the planet, or especially here in America, who has an account that was made in 24. Who has an account that was made 6 months ago? Very few people. Like, I can't tell you how many people I get friend requests from that are like men in the military who have a profile picture of them with their shirt off and maybe another picture of them in uniform and then a picture of their dog, and that's it. They have 3 pictures. So, that's how you can spot that it's not, it's just, so look for new accounts, look for if they don't have a profile picture. All those are red flags.
Yeah. So the other thing too is if you're on multiple venues, is see if the same comment is on multiple venues.
Right.
If it is, it's fake.
Right.
Do you feel upset? That's the point. They're trying to get you upset. You need to pause. You need to ask, who's benefiting if I share this?
Well, yeah. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I guess I'm not a big AI guy yet at all. Tav can spot this stuff a lot easier than I can, but one of the ways, sometimes if you get in the heat of battle and you just ask them a silly question, how much sugar do you put in your apple pie? And if they can't answer that, or it gets this silly answer, you'll know you're probably not dealing with a person.
Right.
So there's ways out there to check, but I got to tell you, they're pretty slick. And all this AI generated media in that.
Right.
I mean, that's where it gets real hard. And then we were sitting watching somebody yesterday. They were talking about the AI generated bands.
Right. Bands on Spotify.
Yeah, that's scary as heck.
It's not even human generated. And the thing that's concerning about that is that Spotify doesn't have to pay them.
Right.
And they're selling their music.
Right.
So now there's people in the online community, especially the music community, who want to say it's okay to make that, but you can't sell it.
Yeah.
You can't copyright it. In other words, you can't copyright it. So maybe that will put the kibosh on some of that. But I don't know. I think Pandora's box is open, and I don't think we're putting it back in. I think we just have to figure out ways that our generation can navigate it, so we don't get we don't get pulled into it. And you asked who benefits if I share this. You need to understand, if you don't already understand, a lot of these accounts, they get paid based on their interactions, their engagements, how much engagement they get with their content. And the more engagement they get, the more they're going to get paid. So, So understand that, sometimes people try to get you pissed off so you'll comment. It's just so they can make some money. So
understood.
Well, we can't stop the bots. We can't. It's here. It's not going anywhere. But we can stop feeding them, and we can understand what they're doing.
Yep.
Well, probably the most effective way to deal with them is to just unfollow the rage bait accounts. And when I say rage bait, that's the people that are putting stuff out there. They're acting like they're so outraged about everything, and they're wanting you to connect with them. So just unfollow them. That way you don't have to see.
Right.
And trust me, it's happening on the left. It's happening on the right. It's happening for controversial issues that might not be left or right.
Yeah.
They're just controversial issues. Just understand that everyone's doing it. There's no good guys out there like, oh, they would never do that. They're doing it.
Right.
Everyone's doing it. And so just understand that. And if you feel, like Jim said earlier, if you feel upset, just pause and click away from it. You know?
And don't be embarrassed if you've fallen for this.
Right.
Everybody has. I mean, I know I have. You feel like an idiot after, but I tell you what, it only takes once.
Right.
And you don't do it again.
Well, and some of the stuff that's a little bit scary now too is when people are confronting people and getting into these fights online.
Yeah.
Sometimes you are dealing with a real human being, and sometimes it's hard to know where to stop and where to put the brakes on. And the last thing you want is, all of a sudden, they're pulling screenshots of your very inappropriate responses and sending them to your boss because they dox you.
Yeah.
It's very easy to find people online. There's tools now that it's very easy for them to find out who you are. And the last thing you want is, them posting your, something that maybe you said in the heat of the moment.
Right.
To in a situation that can get you into trouble.
Yeah.
So, or even affect your safety.
Right.
Because people are doing swatting. I've seen both sides of that with the swatting, where somebody calls the police and says that there's some very dangerous situation happening in a house, and the SWAT team shows up, and that could be really dangerous. And it's happening on both sides too.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to do that.
Right.
Provoke people. So.
Well, what you can do is don't ever give your credit card to anybody that asks you to help clean up a problem.
Right.
Yeah, they're gonna the only thing they're gonna clean up is your bank account.
Right. I laugh, but it's not funny.
No, it's not
funny. It
happens every day.
Well, and people are giving away their passwords for things.
Yeah.
So, we just we just encourage you to be cautious.
Right.
But even as cautious as we are, we've still had problems.
Sure we have.
Because we're human and,
dumb.
No, we're not dumb. I mean, some of these people are just good.
Yeah.
They're that good at being deceptive.
Right.
So, all right. So the takeaway from today's episode is, it's not about politics. Let's make that really clear. We're not a political show. It's about power manipulation, and both sides are doing it. And it isn't even just happening on, like I say, both sides, like it's an American issue. I mean, we're interacting with people on social media now for all over the world.
Right.
And
most of the time you don't know even who you're interacting with.
Right. So don't assume that they're here.
No.
It isn't about politics. It's about power and manipulation. These people want power and they want manipulation, and some of them just want money.
Yeah.
And they can get that from increased engagement. So, and it's working. I mean, if we keep participating in these kind of activities, it's going to be working.
Right.
And the only way it's going to stop working is when we stop participating and we make it stop.
Yeah. And, I can sit here and tell you with 100% confidence that real change is not going to come from bots.
Right.
You need to think twice before sharing.
Right.
And you need to keep your bullshit filter very, very sharp.
That's right. Exactly.
So we have a comments section. Some people probably don't want to share if they've ever been boticized.
Be brave.
Yeah, be brave. I have. I mean, I'll be the first to admit I have. And, if you want to throw a comment out there, if you have any ways that we haven't mentioned to protect yourself, please let us know.
Right.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you in advance for your comments. Thank you to all those that have commented on previous shows. We really appreciate you and our subscribers.
We do. And we just want to let you know, too, that this is part 1 in a 2-part series. So tomorrow we're going to be bringing part 2, which is going to really unmask who is doing this.
Yeah.
Who is doing this and what is their motivation for doing it? And we're going to get a little bit more granular and down into the weeds of who it is. But we wanted to take this episode, rather than trying to cram it all into one episode, we wanted to break it up. So you may not even be aware that this practice is going on with these AI bots. And by some statistics I read, and will have in the video description for this episode, I'll have some links in there where we got, of the receipts where we got this information. But I saw where a study was done, and they found that 48% of the accounts on X are bots. 48%. Wow. And now just understand that it's more prevalent on controversial topics.
Yeah.
So if you're on a non-controversial topic that's not, outrage or anger based, it's less likely that you're going to be interacting with the bot. But if you're on on a topic or on a post and reading the, commenting in the comments with something very controversial when people are getting heated and angry and whatnot, you're probably dealing with the bot. And I would say, don't even try to argue with them because they're really smart and they're smart asses. And I'm sure now looking back in hindsight, I've probably dealt with a few of them and not even realized it. And they handed me my ass on a platter, because they're very sarcastic and they're programmed to do exactly that. So anyway, if you've enjoyed our episode, we really appreciate it. And we would like it if you would hit the subscribe button. And do it today, especially because you don't want to miss tomorrow's episode. And if you subscribe, it'll show up in your feed.
There you go.
So, well, we're not slowing down.
And neither should you. And together, we're Unretired AF.